I might not seem like much right now, but I promise you this. I'm going to take good care of you and make sure you have the best life possible. We don't need anyone else. We're going to take on the world, show them we can do it. Just you see. With a sigh, she glanced out of the window. Though the light pollution of the city of York had watered down the Milky Way, it gladdened Alice to see that the stars were still visible, quietly twinkling away in the night sky. It was while she was gazing up at the stars that a name came to her. Stella, she said quietly, before repeating it as if trying it out for size. Stella. She recalled reading that the name meant star, which sounded appealing and somehow appropriate in this quiet moment. She moved her gaze to her little daughter as a smile spread across her face. That's it. That's the one, she said softly, as excitement tingled through her. Though she'd drawn up a list in the knowledge she was having a girl, Alice had struggled to settle on a first name. Nothing seemed to appeal or feel right. Unlike her baby's middle name, which had taken no thinking about at all. Alice had already decided it was going to be May, in memory of her beloved maternal grandmother, to whom she'd been close until her death 4 years earlier. But as her due date had inched ever closer, a first name had remained impossible to choose. Until tonight. Stella May Hutton. Perfect. Alice smiled happily, dropping a soft kiss to her baby's brow. My little star. Chapter 1. 33 years later. Stella slid the off-white horsehair barrister's wig from her head and threw it onto the large table that occupied the centre of the oak-panelled robing room of York Crown Court, puffing out her cheeks as she did so. It had been a tough week, one she wasn't sorry to see the back of. Only a handful of fellow advocates remained at court, most heading off as soon as they could, intent on making the most of their Friday evening. And, much as she loved her job as a criminal barrister, today she'd be glad to shed her robes and head back home to Micklewick Bay on the North Yorkshire coast. "What's up, Hutton?" asked a plummy voice from the other side of the table, pulling her out of her thoughts. It wasn't unusual for members of the bar to address one another by their surname. "Thought you'd be happy it's Friday at last." She glanced over to where the voice came from and released a noisy sigh. "Hi, Ferdy. Didn't see you sitting there." She dredged up a smile. "I can't tell you how happy I am it's Friday, but it's been a right pain of a day, that's all. Actually, make that, it's been a right pain of a week." Her North Yorkshire accent stood in stark contrast to the well-spoken tones of her fellow barrister. But Stella had never felt compelled to modify the way she spoke to fit in, as some of her contemporaries had, which resulted in some amusing, affected tones. She shrugged off her black gown, dropping it onto the seat before her. "Ah, yes. I'd heard you were the unlucky so-and-so who's prosecuting one of the notorious Dixon clan opposite Elliot. A dodgy duo, if ever there was one." Aiken Ferdinand, KC, pulled a sympathetic face, closing his laptop. Stella nodded, reaching around to the back of her neck and unfastening the starched white collarette with its attached bands, pulling it free from where it was tucked in the jacket of her tailored black suit. And don't I know about it." She threw the collarette on top of her wig, then smoothed her hands over her blonde hair that was tied back in the usual sleek ponytail she wore for work. "Ugh, you have my sympathies. I've heard the case is a stinker, and it won't be helped by the fact your opponent's a devious weasel. Wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him." "Tell me about it. Thanks to Elliot's fannying about and deliberately dragging his heels."